Hi everybody. Hi everyone, and welcome to the 2 Acre Homestead. My name is Lisa, in case we have not met. Well, this morning it's pretty early here on our homestead, and I've got a big old pot of coffee, and I've got my cup of coffee going, as you saw. And I wanted to take you guys along with me because this is actually a viewer request. One of you guys have requested this from me, and that is actually, it's multiple people who have requested this from me, and that is you guys want to see more of how I cook what we harvest. And I thought it was a really good request because there are so many gardener videos and grow this at this season, but when you're homesteading, everything that you do on your homestead is going to funnel through that kitchen. Your kitchen is the most important room in your home on a homestead because every decision that you make, it's a culinary decision. And so your kitchen becomes the most important room for you. So that being said, I am going to start doing way more cooking videos showing you the harvest, the cooking, and a little bit of preserving sprinkled here and there. Today's video is going to be a video that goes along with a blog post that I have recently done. So if you're not familiar with our blog, go ahead and check it out, the2acrehomestead.com. I'll put it in the show notes below. And check out our blog. So, and the blog will give you all the exact ingredients and measurements and everything that you need for this. This video is all about what I call refrigerator bacon. Now, we have been off of store-bought bacon for quite some time now, and it took me a long time to perfect this recipe because I did it from scratch. I did not look to other resources or other, bloggers or anything like that to get a recipe. I just did this on my own, and it took some time. Now, when I first started doing this, I would go to my local grocery store and I would get 1 pound of pork belly. And that's really what you need, is a pound of pork belly. Once you have your pound of pork belly, you can follow the ingredients that are, you can follow the recipe really, really good. And once you get this recipe down, then you can move on to bigger amounts of bacon or of pork belly. You can move to bigger, heavier amounts of pork belly, and you can adjust the recipe according to your family's taste. This recipe is just a base recipe. This is just to give you the basics. You can modify this according to your family's taste. Now, on our homestead, we grow most of our own food. Except this year we decided we're not doing meat pigs this year. We didn't do any feeder pigs. So what that meant is I had to go outside of the home, use a 30-mile radius to source pork. I was looking for a farmer that would raise pork organically, pasture-raised, and processed correctly. We'll get to that in just a second. I couldn't find said farmer. So I had to increase my search to a 50-mile radius, and I was able to find somebody who did a private sell just between the two of us. And it worked out great. The reason why this is so important to me is a lot of pasture raised, holistically, grass-fed, grass-finished, all of those things. Now, that doesn't necessarily apply to pork, but that's okay. Those are the things that you probably are accustomed to hearing: grass-fed, grass-finished. But there's one thing that doesn't get discussed a whole lot, and that is what happens to that animal when they are taken to a USDA facility to be processed. When they are taken to any USDA, and this is just for the United States, I can't speak to other countries. What happens is when they go to those facilities, those facilities will take the raw meat after the animal's been butchered and pieced up. They'll take that raw meat and they will spray it down with bleach. Yeah, you heard me right, bleach. The same bleach that you're going to use that you would use in your laundry. I don't use it anymore, but that bleach, they spray it down with bleach. Now, if you've worked with bleach before, you'll know that once you get it on your hands, if you just use, a little bit of hot water, a little bit of warm water, and you try to rub it off of your hands, it's still going to be on your hands. And if you're like me, I'm very sensitive to chemicals on my skin. So when I use bleach and if it ever gets on my skin, I don't use bleach, but if it ever gets on my skin, I have to wash with soap and water and then bleach, and then I am moisturizing the rest of the day. Imagine putting all of that chemical on, somebody's putting that on your food, and then they just simply rinse it off with water and then they sell it to you. And you cook it and you eat it and you're consuming bleach and you don't even know about it. So, though it's one of those things that I feel like it doesn't get discussed enough, but people need to be aware that that's what's happening. And I understand why they're doing that, because they don't want any bacteria or anything like that. I totally get it, but I don't want to ingest bleach, bottom line. So that being said, when we look for farmers who raise their meat, we're always looking for farmers who do butchering right there on their farm, because then we know they're not spraying it with any of these crazy chemicals that are going to leach into your food. So you're going to be seeing me work with 3 pounds of pork belly. And that's because that's what we purchased. Actually, we've got a couple pounds more of pork belly in our freezer. So, but anyway, I digress. That's what you're going to see me work with on this video. And you're going to see me cut it up into slices where, my family and I can kind of handle it. Anyway, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into this video. I'm excited for you guys to see just what refrigerator bacon looks like. And just as the name implies, it is a refrigerated bacon. So this is not a cured meat. This is something that we're going to do with spices. You're going to keep it in your refrigerator and you'll pull it out whenever you need to. The other thing that you can do with this particular bacon, and I do explain this in the blog, I believe, is that you can slice it up, cook it all one day. If you're dealing with like a big batch like I am, you can slice it up, cook it all in one day, and then freeze it. It is fantastic. When it's frozen, you can thaw it out like an hour or two before. Just let it sit on your countertop. Let it thaw out for an hour or two before, or stick it in your microwave or oven or whatever you're going to do to thaw it out. And it tastes just like you just made it. So it's a fabulous, fabulous way to have pork. Anyway, I hope you guys have learned something from this long-winded conversation this morning. And this is a really heavy subject to talk about first thing in the morning. But without further ado, let's go ahead and see how I make refrigerator bacon. Now that my bacon has been in the refrigerator for approximately 3 days, it's ready to come out. And as you can see, it's been soaking in the brine. The next step that I do is I scrape off some of the top of the brine. And as you can see, when you scrape off the brine, it is just beautiful. Now it's time for me to slice up this 3 pounds worth of bacon into something that I can use that's workable for me. But look at the inside of that meat. It is absolutely beautiful. This particular morning, I am just doing several slices and putting it right here on the grill, or griddle, I should say, to cook up immediately. I put several slices on here, actually almost overcrowding it. But then I realized I just had too much going in that one little pan, and I wanted to get a lot of this cooked up. So I came over here and started doing more slices. And as I'm doing the slices, I'm dipping each slice into the brine, making sure to cut each slice nice and thin. My plan with this is just simply to dip it into the brine, put it on this rack, place it into the oven, and once I've placed it into the oven, I'll let it cook thoroughly inside the oven, and then from there, I can simply freeze it and bring it out on an as-needed basis. If I think I'm going to use more than what I have here immediately, then what I will do is just cook it and keep it in the refrigerator for further use. Okay, so my kids have finally woken up, so the house is just a little bit louder, so I hope you guys bear with me. Trying to keep everything kind of low, but here's the rest of the bacon, and I'm gonna go ahead and store this bacon because it's not a cured meat. I just simply store it in my refrigerator at all times. It doesn't take up that much space. And what I like to do is I like to store it with the brine. So this is the brine, and I just pour a little bit in here. I don't have to pour all of it, but just a little bit of it in here, and then just kind of make sure every piece is coated with this particular brine. And it'll store in the refrigerator perfectly fine. My family will go through this slab of bacon probably in about a month's time, if not longer, probably longer than a month's time. But because it has salt in it, it's preserving it. And so I don't have a problem keeping it in my refrigerator. Now, if I feel like we're not going to use it right away, then what I will do is I will go ahead and I will cook it up and then freeze it. And that's because I don't want to freeze this again. It's already been frozen. So freezing it a second time around, especially in a state of it being raw, might cause some bacterial issues. So you just want to be careful of that. So into the refrigerator this goes, and we'll be using the rest of this bacon for the next couple of meals, the next couple of days. So, and here is the final product. So it's an easy breakfast for us this morning. We're just doing eggs over easy. This is of course my plate, and I don't want any bread with mine, but everybody else is gonna get some bread. Well, that's gonna do it for me here on our homestead. So from all of us to all of you, wherever you are in the world, happy homesteading. And again, for more detailed information as far as measurements on how I make my refrigerator bacon, head on over to the blog. I will put the link in the show notes below, and or you can just go to the 2acrehomestead.com and click on our blog, and you'll be able to find it there. So from all of us to all of you, wherever you are in the world, à la prochaine, next time. That's what that means in French. And until next time, happy homesteading. Bye.